Hi everyone! You know that on this channel we have a part that is called Master Game Analysis. Today I'm going to do a mix of both to show you one of my most important games that I've ever played in a very nice fashion that only lasted 15 moves, and at the same time to cover something very important theoretically. A couple of you sent me an email and requests to teach you how to play against the Tiviakov Scandinavian. So what is that? It's e4, d5, e takes, queen takes, knight c3, and nowadays this variation became even more popular than traditional queen a5, and it's called Tiviakov Scandinavian queen d6. Tiviakov is a Russian GM nowadays who lives in the Netherlands, and he's now player of the Netherlands, and he was the first one who developed the system with the queen d6. After all these years, it's been almost like 20 years since he realized this variation. This line has established as one of the main approaches in the Scandinavian. But before that, let me just tell you an interesting story about this game. I played an open tournament back to 2005 in Slovenia, Portorož. It's a famous place, very attractive one, and I just decided to go there with Grandmaster Dragan Šolak and my good friend of mine from Slovenia, Guid Matej. And we went there, we played a very nice tournament. Believe it or not, in the last round I was supposed to play against, surprisingly, FIDE master Gruškovnjak from Slovenia. I had to win that game in order to share the first place with the Grandmaster Šolak. I knew that the guy was relatively surprising, tactical, that he liked to play different kinds of stuff out of the openings, and I knew that I had to win the game in order to win a very big money prize. Thanks to the following game, I managed to win actually I won the game. I managed to tie the first place in the tournament, and that was the biggest prize that I ever got, and I bought a new laptop. Thanks to that laptop, I started doing lessons and become famous as a chess coach, and that's how everything started. So maybe thanks to this game, we can just say that you nowadays have me on a YouTube channel, and I'm doing all these lectures and trying to make you being a better players. Also, I'd like to thank you for your support. I'd like to thank you for a big number of emails that I get by many of you who just send me that, I don't know, you got like 300, 500, 700 points, and that you, thanks to these lectures, improved your game very much. So let's go. I played d4, and the guy played knight f6. And here I opted for something extremely interesting. Nowadays the main line is knight f3. Although I chose an interesting line, and in a very sharp line with the bishop c4. An interesting fact is that one of the first guys who used this line against Tiviakov Scandinavian was Tiviakov himself. And where? He used it in World Cup versus famous American champion and tactical wizard Grandmaster Larry Christiansen. So you also have to see if some players used some opening, in what kind of tournament he used it. For example, if you do that against your own opening, if you do that in the World Cup, that it really means that the line with the bishop c4 can be set as one of the most difficult and answers for black, and one of the sharpest lines there. Here black can play a6, and when they play a6 they do it to play either b5 or queen c6. By the way, they cannot play queen c6 because you just play bishop b5, pin the queen, and win the game. They do a6. There are two ideas after this move. Riskier queen c6 to attack both piece bishop c4 and pawn on g2, and calmer one and more solid one, b5 followed by bishop b7, with faster development for black than in queen c6 case. I played knight g on e2, and this gives white easy bishop f4, as well as knight g3, knight f5 jumps afterwards on the king side with crushing attack. But a little bit more about these a little bit later. My opponent opted for queen c6 in that game. Instead of queen c6, they can go with b5. There was a famous game between Grandmaster Vallejo from Spain, who was always very refreshing when it comes to ideas, who played and who actually reached 2700 even 15 years ago in open tournaments, which shows really big creativity by that guy to find all those openings, but at the same time he was always great, cutting edge prepared, and great to follow and to search the latest trends in some variations by his games. After b5, Vallejo in the famous game in 2000 played bishop b3, bishop b7, bishop f4, and Majem Battles played, Majem was also 2600 GM from Spain, played queen d8. After castle, e6. I even remember that a good friend of mine, Guid Matej from Slovenia, FIDE master, told me, Maya, what do you think about the d5 move? Few years after that, Vallejo played it in an open tournament against Majem. After he takes d5, now you see one of the points of d5 to open the d file, and at the same time to go with knight g3, knight f5 ideas. That's exactly what happened in this game. Majem played bishop e7, Vallejo played knight d4. He didn't want to play knight g3, he played a little bit even faster, knight e4. Threatens knight f5, jump with the knight on f5, and after bishop c5, played queen f3. He threatened rook a to d1, bishop e5, bishop g5, queen g3, whole bunch of variations here, and practically black was lost. Majem went with knight e4, but his position anyways was extremely difficult. Vallejo captured, played queen c3, and black decided to call it a day. Thanks to this game, this whole aggressive bishop c4 approach became very popular. A year after that, Tiviakov used it against somebody else, and 5 years after that game, I actually used it in an open tournament, and you'll see what happened. In my game was queen c6. The guy didn't want to play b5, and just like I told you, this is way riskier than b5. He threatens bishop on c4, and he threatens pawn on g2. I brought my bishop back to g2 and b3, and he took on g2. I played rook to g1, and once again I have to tell you that at that time I only knew for one good game. In this line, it was a line where black played queen h2, bishop f4, queen h5, bishop c7, bishop g4, and Grandmaster Rodriguez Villa from Uruguay played queen d3 in order to avoid pin, to play long castle. That's what he did. Brought the bishop back and played a special move f3. After bishop f3, rook g5, bishop e2, knight e2. Look at this. Played queen f3, and this queen was almost proper defense. Played bishop d6, nice move. White cannot take because rook is hanging. On the other hand, he threatens to take and rook is gonna hang. So white played rook takes g7, bishop f4, knight f4, queen h6, doubling rooks, king f8, and played bishop e6. Another fantastic game. This Grandmaster Rodriguez Villa is very tactical, and after f takes c6, I especially like the next move. Then he played a calm king b1 move, avoiding pin by queen on h6 and c1, and he threatened knight e6. After king e8, played queen a3, threatening mate on e7, and after knight g8, played queen d6, threatened to take on e6. After knight f8, played knight e5, another beautiful tactical move. You can take because of rook e1, and that's just a win for white. So in the game was queen h4, and after rook f1, black resigned. What a crushing game by Grandmaster Rodriguez Villa. That's what I knew, and I was expecting that my opponent would play and take queen h2. Although he played queen f3. After the game, I asked him, why did you play that? Why did you first of all choose this line? It's considered to be extremely risky, very dangerous. He said, well, you are theoretically well prepared, pretty good tactically, and I just wanted to confuse you and to surprise you with something. Watch out on that, because sometimes we all want to surprise our opponents with something, and actually it backfires us. The problem is that usually we surprise ourselves a little bit more. That's what happened in this game. So I played bishop f4, logical developing move. He played knight to e4. That was novelty, but it was extremely bad, because instead of completing his development or maybe keeping material with c6 or doing something else, he played knight e4. I just want to tell you, the guy's a pretty good FM. So I captured an e4, queen e4, and played queen d2. After he played g6, I played long castle. He played c6, and I played knight to g3. Queen literally has no good moves, except queen f3. I played rook d on e1. I was surrounding this queen slowly but surely. And he played h5. Probably he wanted to play h4 to kick this knight away, to get some space, but h5 is another move. Look at this. I have a feeling that most of these moves now are just almost, I can say they're forced, but now he makes like lots of unexpectedly bad moves thanks to his bad opening choice, especially that started on the move 9 where he made a novelty and played knight e4. I played knight to e4, and believe it or not, the guy resigned. Why? Because let's say he doesn't do anything. I'm threatening knight f6, queen a5, it's checkmate. Or if he goes king d8, I would have queen a5 and knight f6. Or if he goes bishop e6, he can finally say, okay, it's fine, I did something at least to complete my development, but then you play rook g3 and trap the queen. Once again, I hope that you like this short lecture. This is the master game analysis. I showed you a game of mine that changed my career and chess life, and thanks to this game, I started being chess coach online. I bought my laptop, and now you have me here on YouTube and learn all these great analysis. Good luck with this line and beat Tiviakov's Scandinavian. Bye bye, guys.